I started getting neurological problems. My whole left side would go numb. My tongue would go numb, my face would go numb. And that's when I was like, okay, this is something else.
Yeah.
You know, there's something going on. I started what my husband and I call the summer of doctor's appointments. And it was really about 18 months of trying to figure it out. But there was one summer where I went to specialist after specialist after specialist, just trying to figure out what's wrong with me. You know, I mean, I shouldn't be feeling like this.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale, the show where everyday heroes share their stories on how they turn their lives around for the healthier. I'm Coach Brittany, and today's special guest is Bre'anna Emmitt. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming all the way down from Georgia.
Hey, we got here, one flight delay, little rental car, we're here.
But you made it.
That's right.
So, really excited to talk to you today and hear about your book that you wrote, your cookbook, and just the story of who you are and how you became to be this wonderful person. So, first, I want to start with a game.
Okay.
It's called word association.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off a list of words.
Okay.
And you're going to give me the first word that comes to your head.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how crazy it is,
Okay.
whatever, just first thing that comes to your mind.
All right.
Okay? All right, here we go.
Okay.
Burpees.
Pain.
Sleep.
Great.
Donuts.
I don't eat them. Oh, that's more than one word.
It's okay. That's good that you don't need them. Holidays.
Wonderful.
Kale.
I like it.
Inspiration.
Faith.
Laziness.
Bad.
Paleo.
Changed my life.
Cardio.
I hate it.
Atlanta.
Home.
Pizza.
A good cheat.
Cooking.
My favorite.
All right. Well, that's
Sorry,
all
I did more than one word.
It's okay.
You get it.
Yeah, no worries. First thing that came to your head, that was awesome. So, I want to learn a little more about you.
Sure.
Find out your journey of how you got to who you are today. So, can you first tell me so you go to Fit Body in Dawsonville, Georgia. And now how long have you been a client at that Fit Body boutique?
I just started earlier this summer.
Okay. And what has your experience been like so far?
I've loved it. It's an easy way for me to exercise every day. It's not an hour long. It doesn't take me long to get there. I pop in, I pop out, and I move on with my day. So I think what I love about it most is I can drop my kids off at school, I can go 30 minutes later, I can leave, go home, and I still have my entire day ahead of me. So I don't feel like I'm spending, I'm not there until 10 a.m. and then behind on everything.
Right.
So it's, for me, there's the 30 minutes, I love that. And it pushes me to do cardio because I don't normally like cardio. So I would rather lift weights, but I feel like it's fun because, it's for 1 minute and then you're moving on. So.
You do anything for 1 minute.
That's exactly right. That's right.
And now, do you find that the workouts really challenge you every time?
Oh,
you
yeah.
go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are certainly days that challenge me more. I'm like, who wrote that workout? I want to know. But I feel like I would never push myself that hard if I weren't with a group, with someone pushing us, a coach, kind of guiding us through.
And now, has there ever been any other fitness programs that you have tried?
Oh, yeah.
The gym or other programs?
Oh, yeah. I've always done something, since I was in high school, I think. But I usually did the 1 hour classes. But what I like about Fit Body is that it's like I'm doing everything I was doing in a 1 hour class in 30 minutes. There's no downtime, there's no break, there's no switching and stopping to chat before we get on to the next thing. You're just moving the whole time. And you really feel like it was a really effective use of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're keeping that heart rate up so you go into that afterburn effect.
Yes.
So you keep burning. And now, what was it like after you completed your very first workout with Fit Body?
The first one, I would say I was just kind of kicking the tires, seeing is this something I want to do? Mm-hmm. So I was super happy with, just the 30-minute thing. I'm already done. I feel like it was so effective. But since then, there have been, depending on what we're working on that day, I mean, so, there are nights where I'm like hobbling up the stairs to tuck the kids in because I'm like, okay, my legs, all that. So every time, what I love is every time is different. You never know where you're going to be sore the next day. But it seems like I'm always sore the next day. So.
But that's how you keep seeing results is when everything's always switching up and changing.
That's exactly right.
And now, so sounds like you've always had fitness on point, and now you found the program that works for you.
Yeah.
What about nutrition? So I know you have your cookbook, but has nutrition always been something that's played a role in your life?
I grew up in a family, we ate healthy, for what was healthy then, like I can't believe it's not butter spray instead of butter and lots of whole grain. So what we knew as then is like, this is the healthy way to eat, is how I grew up eating. But after we had our third child, I started having all these odd symptoms, like not really knowing what was going on. First, I started, my hair was falling out, and I was like, maybe it's because I've had 3 kids in 4 years,
Yeah.
And then it was my skin was getting rashes on it, and just also bizarre. My joints were stiff. So I was doing a weightlifting class, and the first thing I noticed was I couldn't do push-ups anymore because I couldn't bend my wrist, and it was super tender and sore and stiff feeling. Then I couldn't move my neck, and then my knees were starting to get stiff, and all my small joints were getting stiff. And I was 28, so I was going, okay, I feel like I'm getting old really fast. Maybe it's because I'm almost 30. I mean, that should not have been. But in my mind, I just kept chalking it up to, well, maybe it's this. Maybe it's just, 3 pregnancies in a short time, maybe. And then I started getting neurological problems. My whole left side would go numb. I'd have tingling in my hands almost all the time, and shooting pains down my legs. My tongue would go numb. My face would go numb. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not just... This is something else.
Yeah.
There's something going on. So I started what my husband and I call the summer of doctor's appointments. And it was really about 18 months of trying to figure it out. But there was one summer where I went to specialist after specialist after specialist, just trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I shouldn't be feeling like this. And I had a lot of great doctors. I had some that I feel like they looked at me like I was making it up. Like, listen, I'm not paying for a babysitter and driving across town to come tell you these things, to have you tell me that it's in my head. I know that this is going on. And so I finally found a doctor who was willing to work with me and say, I'm not going to refer you on anymore. You're not going to go see 10 specialists. Let's just figure it out. And go ahead.
So when you went to all the doctors, other than the ones that didn't believe you and thought it was just in your head.
Yeah, and that was probably maybe 1 or 2. It wasn't,
Yeah. What were they diagnosing you with, or they just kept referring you to other doctors?
Referring me, they kept saying maybe it's lupus, maybe it's fibromyalgia, maybe it's MS, maybe, we don't know what it is. But it's they knew it was something autoimmune.
Okay.
A lot of these diseases present in the same way. So there's so many crossover of symptoms, and the testing is usually not accurate. So it's just kind of this guess of it sounds like this. How do I treat that? And here's 16 medications, and there's side effects. You might not be able to drive, and it's okay, I can't live like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I found a doctor she was an MD, but she also really believed in a lot of holistic measures. And she said, let's try gluten-free, let's try dairy-free. And in this time, and over the next few months, we found out that I did have celiac disease and Hashimoto's thyroid disease, both autoimmune. So the gluten-free was amazing. Within 6 weeks, I was like, I'm a new person, I feel like me, But I kept kind of plateauing, and so I said, okay, let's cut dairy out, and that was a sad day because I was like, I can live on gluten-free, but I really like dairy,
Yeah. I actually cut dairy out of my life aside from cheese. That's one thing I can't get rid of.
That is, if I'm gonna cheat, it's gonna be with cheese every time.
I try to minimize it, but I felt so much better cutting out dairy.
Yeah.
So I love hearing that actually helped your disease also.
I was very disappointed when it helped. I was like, no, anything but that.
Right.
But it did help. So then eventually I cut out grains, and then after a batch of homemade salsa left me miserable for 2 weeks, that's when I was like, why would salsa bother me? And I started reading about nightshades and how they affect the immune system. Nightshades are tomatoes, potatoes, hot peppers, and how they affect your immune system. So I was like, well, I don't want to give that up. Second to dairy, salsa is like my life, you know? We lived in San Antonio, Texas at the time. So I'm like, it's literally everywhere, you know? I can't live without this. But I cut it out, and I learned actually how to make a nightshade-free salsa in there that I think every time I serve it, everyone loves it. So I think it's good. That was when I really dramatically started seeing not only like improvements of my symptoms, but I was feeling better than I felt before.
Wow. Okay.
I felt like I was a teenager. You know, I felt fantastic. And I did the strict autoimmune protocol, the Paleo autoimmune protocol, for 18 months. I did not cheat one time. And that was when, in that time, I got pregnant, had our fourth and last. We only have 4. My pregnancy was my easiest pregnancy. I had no morning sickness. I had nothing. It was just like a normal, and I really attribute it to, just eating so clean and just being really strict about it.
Now, going through that for 18 months, what was it that like kept you so strict on that diet without cheating once?
I was miserable before, I wasn't even 30 and I had no energy. I just felt fatigued all the time. My joints were, like I said, terrible. And it was scary. I really thought, do I have something really serious that could be terminal? What's going on? I shouldn't feel like this. And so once I realized what it was and that I could fix it, and I didn't even have to take any medication to do that.
I was going to ask, did you ever take any medication for it at all?
No. That was when I was like, okay, this. And on a side note, I don't think there is something wrong with medication. I know a lot of my friends who follow this diet aren't able to get off of their medication, but most of them are able to at least, reduce the quantities and the amount. Sometimes, they're on 6 pills and they're down to, 1 or 2 and they're smaller doses. But, for me, that was like, if I can fix this on my own, and I won't cheat. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So now I've gotten to a point where gradually, this is an elimination diet, you introduce things back in. I eat more than I ate when I wrote this cookbook. Like in the autoimmune protocol, there's no nuts, there's no eggs, there's no nightshades, things like that. So I'm able to eat nuts, eggs occasionally, and some nightshades occasionally, but I can't overdo it. I start feeling it.
You start feeling that.
Yeah, and it starts in my hands. Like my fingers will get real sore, and like, okay, no more fries for a while.
But it's good that you can still have that balance now that you've managed it this far along. You can still,
And I didn't know if I would ever be able to introduce foods back. But over time, I was able to a little bit here and there. And like I said, now like I can have something with goat cheese on it, and once in a while, it's fine. I just can't do it every day.
And now, do you know how you developed this disease, or is it just genetics?
It's genetics. It's so nobody really knows. Okay. No one in my family has either of these things, but autoimmunity is typically genetic. Okay. So, like celiac disease is connected to type 1 diabetes, and multiple sclerosis and lupus and all these things. So I don't know exactly where I got this gene to develop this, or if it was something environmental, when I was a child. I really don't know. Yeah. But I do my best to make sure my kids are, eating as clean as I can have them, because I never want them to go through, even a little bit. I just want them to be healthy, and if they do later in life say, okay, I got mom's thyroid deal, then I can help them. I can say, listen, I know how to help that. Yeah.
It literally is how you fuel your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many things that you can fix and cure with food, like what you put in your body.
Absolutely. And I think what's funny is before all this, I remember probably not even 6 months before, my husband said, what is this gluten-free thing everyone's talking about? And I said, oh, it's just some stupid trend. Like in my mind, it was like, it's just another fad diet. Mm-hmm. And then I was very humbled, and I realized I had to be on this diet, and it actually works. It actually helps.
So what motivated you to write this cookbook? I know you had the design of everything, but what was a motivating factor for you?
I've always loved to cook, and I've always loved to bake.
Okay.
And since I was little, like when I got in trouble, my parents were like, you can't bake for a week. Like when I was like in 4th grade, I've always loved that. So So when I went on this diet and there's no wheat, no dairy, no eggs, I mean, how do you bake?
Yeah.
No sugar. How do you bake without those things, you know? So it's just finding ingredients, coconut flour, and making your own eggs out of like gelatin is what I use in here, which is also really good for you. It's the same stuff that's in like bone broth and collagen and all of that. And arrowroot flour, using coconut milk instead of dairy, honey instead of sugar. So when I started this, honestly, I searched the internet and I could not find anyone that did AIP baking. There was no egg substitute out there. And I found in a super old, like 50-year-old cookbook, an egg substitute made with gelatin. I was like, I'm going to try that. I'll see, because I know that those ingredients are approved. So I started a blog, and based on my husband, which I'll have to tell that backstory too.
Okay.
But I started a blog with all of my AIP baking and different easy dinners, things like that are family friendly. And I was like, I'm not going to give this my time if no one's coming to it, because I've got enough going on. But if people start coming to it, then I'll keep it up. So the first day, it was like 600 people came to it, and it doubled within the week. And I was like, okay, clearly people are searching for, AIP baked things, AIP. My first recipe was like a banana bread you made flat in a pan, because, eggs, it doesn't rise without eggs.
Yeah.
So you made it flat in a pan, and then it's just slices. You slice this way instead of this way. So anyways, that is how I started. And that became popular. It's like, I think there's a need for a cookbook. There was, at the time, one cookbook out when I started writing it. And it's a fantastic cookbook too, but I felt like I needed to add some baking into the AIP world. So that's where it started.
Okay, and now what type of reviews do you see? Do people let you know whether they send you letters, comment, reviews?
Oh yeah.
Of how it's helped them change?
Oh, and that's like the best thing is when someone writes me a letter. My 7-year-old granddaughter is on this diet for some disease that she has at such a young age, and she loves ketchup. And we made your ketchup recipe, and it made, and now she eats it with everything. Things like that, make me so happy. That's because when you're eating this restriction of a diet, you don't realize how much our culture bases everything around food. You go to a Christmas party and you're like, well, I'll take some raw broccoli off of the veggie tray. It's
really
depressing, So when you can eat something that feels normal, it's like comfort, So that was my goal with that.
Now the title is He Won't Know It's Paleo.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about
Sure.
that, how it came about?
Yeah, when I went gluten-free, my husband thought that I was basically un-American at that point. That was not what we do. We eat gluten, that is what we do here. So when I did that, at the same time we found out my second son had, he was having eczema and things, and so we had some testing done, and he also carried the gene for celiac disease and was showing some response in his blood work. So we were like, let's just try taking him off of it. We didn't want to go through the whole process of the endoscopy and all that. He was so little. With all that said, the whole house was gluten-free at that point. He would eat it when he went out to eat. But I kept everything that I made gluten-free. And he's super supportive, and but I was messing with his food, where's my bread? Where's my graham crackers, So I was like, if I'm going to do this paleo thing, I can't tell him. He just needs to live in ignorant bliss. And he's kind of a picky eater to begin with. And I've always told him since we were dating, I won't lie to you, but I will lie to you about what I put in your food. Because he would watch me even when we were dating, cook, and he's like, I don't think I like onions. I don't think I like.
I know. Wait till it's done.
I was like, what's funny is if I chop it up small enough, you love it. Because you don't know what's in there.
Right?
So with this, I was cooking paleo for about 6 months, and I was feeling great. And he hadn't said anything. I was making cookies. I was doing all this kind of stuff. And then he was telling me, my 30s have just been good to me. He's like, I've lost weight. I'm feeling really good. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's just I don't know. My body is improving with time. And I'm sitting here going, okay, I guess I need to let him know.
Yeah.
So that's when I told him, I said, well, it's probably because I've been feeding you paleo for 6 months. And he's like, what? And at that point, he couldn't go back and be like, Well, I didn't like any of that food
Yeah,
anyways.
right? You're like,
I mean,
it's already proven.
Yeah,
It's done.
you've eaten it all. I know that you've asked for more, So he got a kick out of it, and he was the one who's like, you need to write down these recipes. You need to share these. And so he's like, you need to start a blog, and let's think of a title. And together we came up with He Won't Know It's Paleo.
I love that.
Because he really didn't.
I love this picture
That's
of you
him.
guys too.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's great because so many people think, oh, I don't like that, I don't like this,
Yeah.
but that's proof. Like, just wait till you see. Just
that's right.
wait. So where can our listeners find this book if they wanted to?
Absolutely. It's on Amazon. That's probably the easiest way. They usually offer a discount, and if you have Prime free shipping, it's on your doorstep in 2 days.
And now a holiday cookbook. You also have a holiday cookbook here.
This is it's a mini cookbook. It's more like a magazine style, but it has all, let's see, like, of course, turkey. This is what we make every Christmas, prime rib.
Ooh,
it's
prime rib.
delicious. Yeah. My favorite recipe in here is this dressing recipe. It's based off of my grandmother's dressing recipe, and it has like bacon. It's actually made with white sweet potatoes, and it has a little bit of a mild sweetness, like a cornbread dressing. And anyways, there's lots of good stuff in there.
I gotta check those out.
That's right.
We'll make sure we post a link in below the video so that way you guys can get a copy of both of these books.
Yeah,
here.
and this is the full one. This one is the full size, over 100 recipes. So this is the one if you're gonna try the autoimmune protocol. Like, this has everything in it, from chicken fingers to cake and cookies and brownies and easy meals and all that.
You're making my mouth water.
Yeah,
already.
that's good.
So, I mean, going to Fit Body Boot Camp, knowing about nutrition, like, do any of the boot campers there with you, like, come to you to ask for advice or guidance?
Yes, and I usually tell them, if they're dealing with something autoimmune, the first step, and which is what I did, is to go gluten-free. And you hear everyone say that, but it truly is crucial. When you get, and it takes 6 weeks to get out of your system, so you have to give it 6 weeks of really following it. Okay. You can't just say, I'm just going to have this little piece of bread. Like, you need to start over, unfortunately, if you do that, because it just reignites everything. So,
is there any like withdrawal symptoms? Like, when you're switching over, you just slowly start feeling better?
I have heard some people say, when you go cold turkey and quit like everything at once, sometimes there are, not withdrawal, but like just kind of some detox weird things going on. I did not experience that. But I also took it slowly. First I went gluten-free, then I went dairy-free, then I went paleo, then I went autoimmune protocol. And that whole process took probably 6 months, maybe more.
Okay.
So it was not an immediate thing. Now, I've had a lot of friends do the all at once and feel great within weeks too. So I've heard people say that there can be detox, like with any diet, but I did not experience that. So
okay, well that's great.
yeah, and I don't think it's anything like if you were to go keto and got the
keto flu.
Yep,
right.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like that.
Okay. So, but boot campers, they do come to you?
Yeah, so I usually tell them go gluten-free first, and then usually within like 4 to 6 weeks, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I know. It really helps. So gluten-free first. And then I really feel like the way I did it was a nice way to ease into it. Then, cut out dairy and then go paleo, But if you need to stop it all, if you just know yourself and go cold turkey, but I think that would have been hard for me. Like, just to, when I went gluten-free, it made me realize, I can cut things out of my diet, and it's really not that big of a deal. Yeah. So,
now, is there any other things that you think paleo is good for? Obviously, due to your husband's testimonial, losing weight and all that.
Right. But. Yeah, I think it really does. It helps you maintain your weight. I was paleo during my pregnancy, and I didn't gain that much weight, and that's always nice, when you. But I feel like across the board, anyone who eats this way is going to notice their energy improves. They feel better. They're probably going to lose weight, or at least maintain what they have, if they don't need to lose weight. So I feel like I've become kind of a paleo evangelist, just because it really did change it gave me my life back. Yeah,
and like you said, there's so many more people out there that are like searching for answers like this.
Yes.
It's proven with your blog and everything.
And I think the hard part too, and I do feel like that doctors are hearing more testimonies of their patients saying, this really helped me. Because when I started, it was like nothing you have to be gluten-free because you have celiac disease, but beyond that, you just need to learn to live with your symptoms. And I wasn't really okay with that, So I think the more that, if someone has told you, just take your medicine, diet's not going to help you, test it, try it, and see, give it a few months on paleo and just see if that's right, because I'm gonna bet that it's not. My sister-in-law actually has multiple sclerosis, and she also eats paleo. And I asked her, what did you notice first? And she said, within a month, my fatigue was gone, and I stopped getting these weird feelings in my legs. So I think across the board.
Yeah, definitely. So, kind of wrapping everything up, what does living beyond the scale mean to you?
I think when I go to the gym, I'm really thankful that I can do these things again. I'm thankful that my wrist bends again. That I can work out, that I can raise my heart rate, and I don't feel like I'm going to break myself anymore. And I think a lot of people with autoimmune diseases think I'll never be able to do those things again because of the symptoms that I live with. So I'm just thankful that, I went through a period where I really felt like I was aging really fast, And
really young.
And really young, yeah. And you're not supposed to feel like that when you're not even 30, So now I'm looking back a few years later just saying, I'm just glad to be able to work out and able to feel healthy and able to show my kids an active lifestyle.
It's all about the gratitude.
That's right.
Takes you so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being on and sharing and introducing us to your cookbook here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any of our listeners out there that want to follow you, where can they find you?
So on Instagram and Facebook, I'm He Won't Know It's Paleo. And I'm on Pinterest too. I think I had too many characters, so I think it's He Won't Know Paleo, I think. But just search me. And then hewon'tknowitspaleo.com. And of course, on Amazon, you can find my cookbooks.
And then also go to fitbodybootcamp.com to either work out with Bre'anna at the Dawsonville Fit Body location or find a location near you to claim your 3 free workouts. Until next time.